Hello there, guys. Welcome back to another episode of E&Ftv. This week, we are joined by my very good friend, Peter Heath from Venue Performance. Peter, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I just noticed you had to look at your notes to check my name then, but
I haven't actually got any notes in front of me.
oh, okay.
I looked at the camera and then looked back down. But no, so thank you very much for joining us today. I know how incredibly busy you are, so it's one of those where I think it's been quite difficult for us both to jump on this, but I'm happy we've finally been able to do it. What I would like to do first off is just jump into a bit about you, your background, what brought you to start Venue Performance. For obviously the audience that are watching, I know that all of you will probably recognize Peter from your LinkedIn feeds because he's usually all over them. But I think it'd be a good idea just for you to give us a bit of insight into who you are, and as I say, what brought you to start the amazing Venue Performance, and I suppose a little bit about what you guys do for your clients, because I think that'd be quite interesting.
Yeah, sure. Well, I like a lot of things. I fell into it by accident. What it is, for those of you that don't already know, I think the best way of describing it is we do the same for M&E that STR do for beds. So we kind of do M&E benchmarking basically for hotels and meetings and events venues. And I got into it several years ago because I was running a digital business and I had a load of clients who were predominantly venues actually rather than hotels, and they a lot of them didn't really know a lot about their business and how they were attracting new business and what their marketing and targeting was like. So I started asking questions like, who are your competitors and what are they doing? And they didn't know.
Sure.
So I created a benchmarking tool for the venues market, and then the hotels market got wind of it, and we've expanded into hotels as well. So I fell into it as a logical thing that I built along with my business partner, and yeah, it's kind of snowballed from there, really.
And in terms of, I suppose, the response from the market, because again, I know when you and because I've seen you again, that's why I made that joke at the start, because I've seen you on my LinkedIn feed a lot. And you were on my list of people to contact due to a couple of people telling me, look, I think it's a good idea for you guys to connect. And I remember because it was the start of the new year and I got a call. And I obviously didn't know who it was, picked it up, and it was you. So I thought, oh my God, this is perfect.
Yeah.
So I suppose for me, seeing what it does, and of course we'll come on to it in a bit, but the meeting that obviously I held and you were so kind to come to, my opinion of Venue Performance is that it is exactly what we need it to be. What's the response been from the market in terms of maybe the different types of clients? So hotel management companies, hotel brands, and so on and so forth. What is there? Has there been a sort of spectrum of a response?
No, there's been a single response. I'm delighted to say, and that response isn't telling me to clear off. Yeah, I think I when I developed it for venues, I knew there was a need.
Yeah.
And like I said, I wasn't originally, I don't know a lot of your customers and your clients and your contacts because I'm not from the hotel world. But
Sure.
But since I've got into the hotel world, they've also been telling me that they have a need as well, which I didn't realize at the time. So that's the accidental bit. And when I show it to them, based on a logical conversation, they all I don't say love it. Nobody loves software, do they? But they all they all say God, thank goodness we've been waiting for this for ages. So I was like, okay, well that's great then. And then we move very quickly into the process of the data flow, because that's the challenge. Everybody wants it. Nobody has said no, they don't want it. But then the challenge comes as how they get their data from their system to our system. Obviously, the likes of STR have been doing it for years, and they're nice and big and chunky. So they've got big teams. So we've had to develop some clever systems. So the response has been universally positive. The buildup of data that we've got has been quite rapid, but we've got a long way to go. And I think that that we're going to get even quicker. And that's brands. So at the brand level within hotels, I'm talking about now, brands
Yeah.
are looking at it, seeing it, and wanting it. The
Yeah.
operators are also seeing it and wanting it.
Yeah.
The independents and the properties and the outside of town conference centres, the likes of, I don't know, Silverstone or Wide Boston Lakes, or places like, even kind of Merlin venues, they use it as well. So those
Yeah.
unique individual venues, yeah, I'm delighted to say that everybody wants it, which is good. Yeah,
I was going to say it's a positive response. I suppose that's ideal. But no, I suppose with the conversations that we've been having over the recent months, but also the conversations that I've been having with, as you say, the clients that I sort of work with, the response has been overwhelming in terms of yes, this is needed, but also I think it comes with the changing tides with regards to M&E, and that actually sort of brings me on to my first point, which is I suppose M&E revenue management, they see it as a bit of a dark art, bit of a mystical area that nobody really quite gets, and doesn't, to be fair, it doesn't even get the amount of attention that it should, with regards to the return that could be made. I suppose from your perspective, why should hotels and venue properties be focused on M&E revenue management? Hasn't it been working absolutely fine up until now? Everyone seems to have only started talking about it, so it must have been doing all right up until this point. And I suppose in your opinion, why do things need to change in its approach to it?
Well, I don't. To be honest with you, I don't really know, because, like I said, I wasn't aware of this dark art. We don't measure M&E in hotels before. I didn't know that. I just sort of blindly stumbled into this area, and everybody started telling me that they've never measured M&E before, and right. The world's all over beds. Hotels are all over beds. Like, they know every nook and cranny of a bed.
Sure,
that's not a strange thing to say, but they know everything about beds revenue.
Yeah.
But they don't know anywhere near as much. In fact, they know very little about M&E revenue.
Yeah.
And I think that from the conversations that I've had, and I haven't dwelt on them for too long, is that it's very simple. Actually, there's two things. I think COVID changed a lot, like it did with a lot of things. People now realize that M&E drives, well, they don't realize it. They always knew that M&E drives the beds, but M&E is a big driver of revenue, and it comes back quite quickly. Yeah. And the need to get back to meeting as opposed to travel and leisure is strong. But also, I think a key fact is that everybody told me that A, it couldn't be done, or B, it'd been tried before and nobody had managed to do it. So I think it was seen as, put it into the too difficult pile. So nobody bothered to do it. Or they tried to and they weren't able to do it. And I don't know how or why, but I just have managed to do it. So this thing that wasn't able to be done before now suddenly can be done.
Yeah.
And everybody now wants it. So yeah.
Well, it's one of those where I remember in some of the conversations around the table at the M&E commercial leadership meeting, right? And one individual said, well, look, if we're not, if my guys aren't targeted on M&E, then the focus, of course, will be lacking, because, of course, the focus has always been on beds. And it's one of those where, yes, I think there needs to be that culture change, but also the education, I suppose, to the actual teams on the front line. Because, again, I think if they're not being incentivized, or they're not being targeted, or there's not even almost a focus to a point where it is on beds, you're already losing. You're not getting the return on those because you're not understanding the space. I mean, we saw during the pandemic, there was this big conversation around, oh, well, we should be utilizing every bit of space that we've got in communal areas because we need to bring people together, but we can't have them in too close proximity. We need to use external space in the grounds of the hotel or whatever it might be. And then the immediate argument is, shouldn't have we been doing that anyway? Shouldn't why has it taken, as you said, the pandemic to kick us up the ass a little bit and go, right, well, now we need to optimize every possible thing we can. And I guess the owner side of it is sort of saying, well, hold on, why weren't we doing that anyway? And I suppose that's where we're at this stage now with M&E. It's almost a point of no return because we've highlighted the fact of what can be done. We can't now go back.
No, I think you're right, and I mean, first of all, it's not my job to tell properties and revenue managers and owners and brands what they should be measuring. That's their call. If they don't want to measure M&E, they have no use for me and my and my software. So I'll politely clear off. Or I talk with a lot of hotel groups, and they've got 20 in the portfolio, and only 6 of them are key M&E properties, for example. So they only bring on 6 of them rather than all 20. So it's not my job to tell them that they should be using M&E more to drive revenue, because that's way out of my pay grade. But I think that if they've worked it out that they internally that they need to be, then the next thing they need to do is they need to measure it to see how they could. So and that's when I kind of get involved, and when they've worked it out themselves internally, then I've got involved. And I think maybe there's a bit of tail and dog wagging thing here, because they haven't managed to focus on it previously, because they haven't managed to measure it, maybe. So, but now they can measure it. Maybe they can manage it better. I don't really know. But I mean, I think for me, the slightly not odd thing, but there's 2 bits to what I do, right? The one bit is the software and what we can do commercially for a customer or a brand or whatever operator. But the second bit is how our data can be used for the industry. So if we can, if that data can be used by associations, by government departments, by working groups like yourself, for example, to help them make better decisions about what to do with M&E, then that's I guess that's where I can play a role in the bigger picture, as opposed to just flogging a bit of software to a hotel property because they think they need it. So I think it's coming together for everything, isn't it? Now that they probably will. I guess is possibly where it's going to get to, and maybe COVID was the kicker. I know.
I mean, it may well be as awful of an impact it had on so many. It's certainly, and I've said this a million times on the channel, but it's certainly created a necessity for positive change, because we were in a rut, and I think it highlighted many areas that needed, for the want of a better phrase, optimizing. And I think it's one of those where, again, the conversations that you're sort of having with these people and the response that you're getting is so positive. I suppose this is probably an interesting one for anybody watching that isn't currently doing it. What have you seen to be the biggest challenges that people have said, look, this is what we're struggling with? Is it purely the clean data, or is it being able to benchmark, or is it all the above? And also, I suppose, as we said a minute ago about the measurements, but I think we've come up with something that we'll be releasing soon with regards to how to measure M&E revenue management. But I suppose, what have people been saying to you in terms of the challenges that they're facing?
I'm just going to write. I've written something down here, which is so. What I'm going to show people is the truth. Okay, that's my obsession. Okay, I'm very I'm going to say passionate about it. It's in the brand of everything I do at Venue Performance. I'm going to show you the truth.
Yeah.
If you don't want to see the truth, then that's fine. I don't. Or if you want to believe your version of the truth, that's also fine. But because we take the data from the horse's mouth, directly from the systems, it goes into our system and it shows you the truth. But that truth, if you want to find the truth, it's like the same in anything in life, isn't it? If you want to find the truth, then you've got to have the courage to go and look and uncover, turn up those stones where the truth lies, and ask those awkward questions where the truth lies. And that's a cultural thing. That's if you've got a culture within a business or within a property group or a brand or whatever it is, if you've got a culture in your business where you don't seek the truth and you don't give the freedom for your team to go and find the truth, because you're invariably going to come across some ugly truth on the way. But if your pursuit is the truth, then I think that changes everything, and then the conversations are very quickly elevated to, okay, how can we get you the data? Because I want to see the truth. So then I think, great, they've got the courage to find it out. They've got the culture where it's open. We now just need to knock over some walls of getting the data from A to B, and that's relatively simple. So I think it's the pursuit of truth is the real kicker. And if people don't want to see it, or if they don't believe it, or if they don't trust truth, then the whole pack of cards comes crumbling down. I mean, I had a good one. Oh my God, it was just the worst example ever. Somebody was looking at the data and they said, I don't believe that. And I said, well,
right, okay.
I don't really know what to say about that, because they said they didn't believe it. And they were talking about it with their boss. And I literally had my head in my hands afterwards, because they said, and the boss said, well, why don't you believe that? And this person said, well, I can, if the graphs don't show me what I want them to show me, I can just change things around and make them show. And I just thought, oh my God.
What?
So you're paying for a system that tells you the truth,
and your first response is, I'm going to just mess with the data and it'll give me what I want.
Mess with the data and show you what I think you want to hear. And it's like, okay, I don't know where to go with that one. Because that's just. So I said, look, I'm done here. I can't deal with that. I'm not gonna work with people like that who are not got the integrity of the data in everything they do. It's just crazy. Everything after that is it flows. It works fine. So there's no real blockers, I don't think, to any of this.
No, and again, just from the conversations that I've had with a number of people specifically about venue performance, there's clearly been some sort of M&E revolution with regards to revenue management. And there are some champions out there, you being one of them, but there are some leaders out there within businesses that are really pushing. I mean, we saw it around the table. We've got some fantastic people that have already gone leaps and bounds in front of many others. And if I'm totally honest, and if they ever do watch this, they know who they are because they're around that table. But those that are pioneering it, ultimately, they're the ones that are going to win, because they're the ones that are optimizing not only the beds, but also every bit of their hotel. So if they're buying into it, there's no negative scenario that comes from being able to optimize your M&E spaces. There just isn't. Yes, okay, there might be an education piece. Yes, there might need to be some culture, sort of addressing culture within businesses when it comes to M&E revenue management. But at the end of the day, that's nothing but a good thing. And I suppose that, again, that brings me on quite nicely, actually. It brings me on to my next point, which is, what do you think, or what do you feel the future is for M&E revenue management? And how do you think we're going to get there?
Oh, right. Well,
what a juggernaut of a question that is.
Yeah.
And don't look like a fool now, Peter. This is on the internet forever.
Well, I don't think I'm necessarily qualified to answer. I'll give you my version of what I think will happen. I think, well, okay, just going back to your original statement about, about why, what I think the conversation, what comes up a lot of the time when I'm with a group call is the client or one of the leaders within the client, they turn around to their colleagues and they say, well, why wouldn't we do this? Why would we not do this?
Sure.
What logical reason is there for me as part of my property to not know how I am performing against my competitive set? I mean, it's just a weird, messed up logic for somebody to say, no, I don't need that. So okay, fine, that's fine. They've obviously got it nailed. So and we've got most of the metrics nailed in the system because we spent a lot of time developing it. So I think in terms of where the future is going to go, I think it's mainly an adoption thing. I think the more that use it, the more it will get ingrained into the metrics. And we're already talking with the likes of some associations about embedding M&E benchmarking into their certified learning programs, for example. So it's going to go more, I suppose it's going to go more mainstream as opposed to being a bit fringy. That's probably where it's going to go. And how is it going to get there? Again, just by more properties, more brands, more operators actually using it, more venues using it. And then as it matures, or as it gets wider adoption, then we consult with the industry to find out what else we need, which we've already started doing, right? We did it the other week. We said, okay, you've got 9 out of 10, but you're missing this one, so you need to go away and develop that. So guess what? We're going away and we're developing that.
Yeah.
So I think that just good collaboration with the industry is because it's not ours, right? That's the weird thing about venue performance. It's not mine. I can't, this software that I've created, it's actually yours. It's the industry. So there's no point in me building it for me. I need to build it for you. And if it's good for you, then great. And if it's not good for you, then I go and sweep the streets or something. So, so everything's, we'll build it out in collaboration, and where it goes, I think it just gets more widely adopted across the regions, not just the UK, Europe, Middle East, Africa. I'm not too sure about the States, but anyway.
No, what I was going to say on your point of that collaboration piece, this will never happen without the industry as a whole embracing it. And we've already created a situation where that could definitely happen. With the buy-in that we've already got, with the passion, or maybe passion's not the right word, with the focus that the leaders have at the moment to really put this in place, that's more encouraging than anything, because it's not like we said at the start of this year, it's not like we're trying our hardest to push them to do something. They're the ones who have said, we need this. This was back in October. We need this, and it's not something we're doing right now, and we need help. And it's one of those where venue performance at the moment is absolutely at the forefront of making sure that they've got the support they need, the insight they need, and the desire to progress where it's going. That's the big thing as well, because it doesn't really matter where we are right now. It matters where we're going to head. And the fact that we've got everybody effectively on the ship, it's just a case of setting sail and let's go. And let's continue the analogy. The seas may be difficult at times, but it takes a crew to get through them. So at the end of the day, we're all in it.
Yeah, and you got to have, when you're faced with those choppy seas, or when you're faced with, it's like any sporting analogy or any business analogy, you've got to have that trust in your team. So if there's trust there between us as a platform software provider and the industry, the market, if you trust us that we'll build it for you and we'll get it right, and we trust you not to give us a bum steer because you want it in a different shade of pink or whatever, give us stuff that is meaningful,
which has happened, right? That's happened.
It happened, but we're all mature enough to push back on that one. So I think that trust is crucial, and that's something that I'm keen to do, which is why I'm very keen to do things like this with you, because people need to know that it's not just me flogging something. It's actually we're trying to do the right thing by the market. And I think we're doing that. I think we're making good
I
progress.
think we are. I think we are. I think, with the follow up that we've got at the start of July with the M&E commercial leadership meeting, I think once we're in that stage of next steps, so we've got the measurement pillars, right? Then moving on, which we will be posting, but then moving on to the next phase, whatever that looks like, with obviously the leaders around the table. I think that's going to be a pivotal moment of now change is going to start happening, because they're going to have the measurements, they're going to have whatever this next stage is. And then after that, it's going to be a case of, right, what's still not working? What's still not happening? Why is this, hitting a brick wall, or whatever it might be?
I think it's a perfect. If let's look at a hotel analogy. If you get feedback from your customers as to what they would like to see the next time they arrive at your hotel, for them to pay a premium or for them to book an extra night, then you're going to bend over backwards to make sure it happens. Whether that's a different layout of their hotel room, or I don't know what it might be, but that's all we're doing. We're just listening to feedback from our customers, go away, working on it, bringing it back, and then we're doing something that we've been asked to do. So it's an iterative process that we're very happy to be doing. So yeah,
definitely.
Good.
Well, I was going to say, in terms of the next steps for you guys, then, so venue performance, because I can imagine there's just a whole load of change always happening. Things are developing, things are moving. But let's say over the next 12, 18 months, what do they look like for venue performance? What do you guys got going on?
Well, there's not a huge amount of change, to be honest with you, because we've got the guts of it nailed. And again, we saw from that meeting that you convened the other day, we've ticked most of the boxes of the things that people want to measure in the way that they want to measure and see that displayed. So we've got that sorted. So we'll tinker and we'll do a bit of development, and we'll always continue to enhance it. But actually, the engine's pretty good, and we just the industry needs as many using it as possible, I guess, to build up the data set. So the next 12 to 18 months, I just see it as being just more adoption of the platform, more venues and properties contributing data, and then the gradual little bits that we do to improve the software with the extra metrics. But I think we're pretty much there, certainly because they've had more than they've ever had, right? Within a very short period of time, they've got more data and more measurement and more metrics than they've ever had ever. So I don't think they are, and there's no need for them to say, but can I just have a little bit more, please? It's like,
please, sir.
just giving you more than you've ever had in your entire life, and you want more. That's just greedy. That's that's a nonsense.
Oh dear. But no, I was going to say, in terms of sort of what your 12 to 18 months looks like, then it just looks like more adoption, more people getting on board, more people buying into it. I suppose there's an essence of raising awareness as well, because that's a big part of what you, I, and others need to do. Hence why, one of the reasons why we're doing this now is to raise that awareness. I know that you do regular either forums. I don't know exactly what it is, but I get emails through to my inbox and things, and it's clearly about M&E venue performance. But what is it that you're doing on those forums that people might want to get involved in or might want to jump on?
Oh, well, those things. Well, again, going back to what I said earlier on, it's not, the data's not mine. There's no point in me keeping all this data to myself. So
sure.
So I just every month, every quarter, I invite people to come and take a look at the data.
And that's live? It's all live, or is that a recorded situation?
No, it's all live. It's all live, and if people want to see different things, then they can ask questions, and we can move the data around, and we can see different things, and things kick up in conversation. Can we? Somebody said the other day, can you change your filters, or can we see that, and can we look at it for that other piece of data? So we did it live on the spot, and that's great, because it's almost like an audience participation analysis of the data in real time.
Yeah.
So and that, we get hundreds of people joining those every month.
Are they mainly in this sales M&E sort of space, or is it sort of RM people as well? What's the type of audience that are attending? Or is it massively mixed?
Massively mixed. We have revenue managers, we have commercial managers, commercial directors, revenue directors, commercial directors, revenue managers, general managers, government departments, agencies, operators, DMOs, destination management organizations, industry associations, because everybody wants to know what the hell's going on. Everybody wants to see the data. So,
and if anybody wants to find out a little bit more about that, do they just jump onto your LinkedIn profile? Is it sort of on there somewhere? Where's best for them to go?
Just message me somehow somewhere. LinkedIn profile's good. Just connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll add you to the database, and you'll get notification every month when they happen. Click on the link, log on, watch the data. You don't have to do anything. You can just watch the data.
Sure.
Because I normally present with some guest people as well, bringing other, because it's not about me. It's about bringing the industry involved. So we're doing some stuff with HOSPA. We're doing some stuff with other agents. We've done stuff with brands to get their take on it. So we'll do some stuff with you probably at some stage. So again, it needs the narrative and the perspective it can't all be looked at through my lens. I've got the data, but everybody else needs to give their view on it, really.
Yeah, and I love that approach, because I think it's one of those where, being in recruitment myself, if I started to tell, if I started to say, I don't know, here's 5 ways to be the best revenue manager possible, everyone's gonna be like, well, you've never been a revenue manager. And it's sort of like, no, you're right, I haven't, which is why I've never posted that. So I'm very careful, and I like the fact that you are too, because you're mindful that you're providing something to provide support, right? There's a support element there, but you're also not that end person. You're and I think there's a very considered balance, and that's what I really liked, and that's what I've liked since we started talking, because I resonate with that very, very much, and I think that goes down well with the audience. So no, I'm bought in. As you know. Well, for anybody that does, that's got this far in the episode and that wants to connect with Peter, find out a bit more about venue performance. If you're hoteliers that have never really delved into the M&E revenue management space and you're considering it, if you're a bit confused about the whole matter in general and you want to find out a bit more detail, please do get in touch with Peter. I'm going to pop all of his details in the comments below. I know that he'd love to connect with you. We are looking to spread awareness. We are looking to create positive change in this space. And that does start with you, the audience. It starts with you, the hoteliers, and you, the industry. And Peter and I are very passionate about this subject. It's something that we see changing, and we see changing for the better. So Peter, I just want to say a massive thank you to you for taking the time to have a chat with me. I know we've been trying to do this for some time, and I'm glad that we've managed to finally do it, and I have no doubt that this won't be the last time you're on the channel, at least I hope not anyway. And guys, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody that's tuned into this week's episode. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you've got any questions that you want to put in the comment section below, I have no doubt that Peter will probably jump on and answer whatever he can or connect with you. So thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. And Peter, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, guys. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.